Hey everybody, Brian Good here on this Friday night, filling in for Kevin Harnett. Here's the latest look at Storm Talk. This will take us through the first full week of spring, and we'll take a look at one big system in general, or at least a pattern that supports a bigger system next week that could give us a wide variety of weather. Our first big battle, I guess you'd say, of the season's taking place next week. Now, for the outlook in the short term, the next couple of days, maybe a few thunderstorms in our southern tier, the lower 48, but that's really about it. Nothing outlooked in the short term. All right, speaking of short-term, temperatures today have really struggled. Excuse me, they've been only averaging at around 51 here in the city because of the cloud cover we've had. We'll see that drop stay pretty slow tonight because the cloud cover's been a problem. We should start to see some thinning that'll take place later on, and when we do, we'll see a drop suddenly close to 40. Even some upper 30s can't be rolled out. But if you look carefully, and I'm using a combination of different satellites here so you can kind of see what's happening, where you see the clouds erode away. That's more the lower deck, the lower cloud deck that is eroding away itself, the dry air. That would be great if that's all we had to look forward to. That'll mean for a starry sky later tonight and some sunshine and blue sky for Saturday. But this low pressure in Texas is causing the problem. It's mainly going to track east and give the southern part of the United States a good soaking of rain. But the high clouds from this, the cirrus deck, are blowing off of that and are arcing themselves right into the Ohio Valley. So these clouds are higher up in the atmosphere. Like today's clouds were real low. These are way up high. They're thinner. The sun can still shine through them. So you'll see the outline of the sun, kind of a haze look to it at times. But it can influence how much warming you can get as well. I still think we'll get enough to get us very close to 70. But just keep in mind, it may not be a perfectly blue sky all day. We may get a few moments where it's perfectly blue, but overall, the clouds from the southern system will be kind of a nuisance and anything. Having said all that, though, overall looks like we're in good shape for the first weekend here of spring with temperatures close to 70. That 70 should be within the metro. Once you leave the city limits, I doubt anybody will get that warm, but 60s at least. And then Sunday, same scenario. Most areas away from the city, probably 57 to 58. Here in the city, we have a chance to get between 60 and 65. But it's mainly because we have a dry cold front coming through Saturday night, and that's the reason why we only see just a slight drop in temperatures. That's about the only thing you'll notice. All right, so let's talk to next week here. Talk about how this is going to play out. That system I showed you into Texas, it's got the radar lit up right now. It is going to move off to the east, as I mentioned, give the deep south rain. There is another wave that is moving in as we head into Sunday and Monday. That, at one point it looked like these two would phase into a bigger storm. The Canadian was trying to do that the other day. That ain't going to happen. But what it looks like it's going to happen now is that little ripple that is going to come down from the north is going to be just enough to give us maybe a brief rain shower Monday and knock us down temperature-wise into the 50s. That's really about the only effect I see from that. Once it leaves, though, we're going to have a fairly decent warm front that is going to just arc itself right into the Ohio Valley on Tuesday. I think we're going to see a strong surge of warm air well into the 60s. I'm going higher than most of the data is indicating based on the way this is looking for Tuesday. So I think 60s are likely. There's going to be those, they're very similar to what we talked about in the video last night. There's two areas of interest here. One, low pressure. It's going to track across the Great Lakes, and the trough itself is going to form a tight gradient. We call that a baroclinic zone. That will develop right across the panhandles of Texas and Oklahoma. The question will then be, when that forms, at that point, where would the storm track be? Is the trough going to be progressive enough here to the east that the system has no choice but to follow with it and avoid us altogether? Or is this a situation where the trough is slower moving and this low pressure tries to develop over Texas and Oklahoma and then rides along that to give us more of a wintry scenario that could develop? A lot of disagreement here, and we're not going to know the answer to this until literally Monday or Tuesday of next week because it's not even in the United States. As you know how the situation goes when systems are off the grid in the Atlantic Ocean or Pacific Ocean, I should say, they are not able to be sampled. So we're going literally by theory right now of what the models think is most likely to happen with both of those features, and there's a chance we'll see all that change once they get sampled. So that's why I'm basically advising you guys not to get too upset over it if it's ruining your plans, or to get too hyped up if you still are a fan of snow. Don't get too hyped up about this yet because we don't have enough data. I'm just getting you at least a glimpse of what we're looking at and what to watch for you model watchers out there in the coming days. So having said all that, let me show you the first part of things, which would be the idea we're going to see warm air move in Tuesday and Wednesday, potentially could get in the mid-70s Wednesday. The question then would be, when that wave of low pressure moves across the Great Lakes, the first wave, it will drag a cold front through here. Are we going to see any type of severe weather out of that? That can't be answered either this far in advance, but we at least can get an idea that when it moves through, it looks to be late Wednesday night, could very well be sunrise Thursday before it moves through. Anywhere you see this gray shaded area, 60-degree dew points, and it is showing it getting very close to our southern counties here very early on Thursday. So there's at least enough data to support some instability here for lightning and thunder. That at least we can see. Severe weather, not likely with this because it is a positive tilt. Again, it's leaning forward, not backward, and that would support maybe some strong gusty winds, but as far as anything organized more than that, doesn't look very likely right now. We'll watch it though. But again, this will be late Wednesday night into Thursday. If we see any thunderstorm action at all, it would be during that period of time, and maybe some heavy rain as well. Once it leaves, again, it is attached to that low in the Great Lakes. We're looking to Texas and Oklahoma to see what is going to happen here at that point. Here's the GFS idea. It is trying to say that after we get rid of this stormy action Wednesday night and Thursday, the low pressure will develop over Louisiana. Look what happens. We get cold air involved, and you start to get snow breaking out south of St. Louis. This will be Thursday night, in fact. And then the low pressure then is forecast to track north and east into the Carolinas, which would then give us snow on the backside. And yes, that would be accumulating wet snow, not much, just a light accumulating wet burst of snow. And if it happens in the morning hours, it could stick. If it happens daylight, chances of it sticking is a lot more of a challenge. But nevertheless, the GFS and the Canadian are on board with this idea that the second wave will develop enough time to have the trough still involved. I will say that the European model is a little more progressive with the trough moving off to the east. So when this low pressure finally does develop, it moves way out here and misses the ride and doesn't influence us at all, other than maybe some cold air, maybe even a flurry, but that would be about the worst case scenario. So right now there's not enough agreement to get too worked up on how that will play out. But at least we do have something to watch now for next week, and that will be the idea of warm weather, the chance for thunderstorms Wednesday night into Thursday, and whether or not we'll have a second wave that could give us something more wintry, or does it miss us altogether and all we get is cold air? Because I do think it's going to turn colder. In any solution, that is likely to happen. A week from today, we'll have some colder air move into the Ohio Valley. So, long way off yet, but as always the case on these video blogs, we always look long term and take you through the next 1 to 2 weeks and give you an idea of what is on the map, and that is what we are facing. Between now and then, it looks nice and quiet, so enjoy the weekend and enjoy watching all the basketball. We'll see you guys coming up tonight, of course, here at 11, and then Ryan Hoke will be in tomorrow morning on Way 3 News Sunrise.